archaeological approach in heritage preservation. Dr. Hazarika.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Is my presentation visible to you?
Yeah, it has come now. Yes, it is
Okay,
visible to all of us.
okay. So, Honorable Chairperson of INTAC, Gupta ji, uh, Director, Chapters Division, Shukla ji, all the respected conveners, co-conveners, and members of INTAC. I'm extremely happy to see you online today in this afternoon. And of course, all of you were present. In fact, most of you were present in the Delhi National Convention. We could hear you, we could talk to you. It was a wonderful opportunity. Now, as we could not present our talk during that time, so we have been given this opportunity to speak. So, as our Shuklaji has already told you about my topic, which is the relevance of salvage archaeological approach in heritage preservation. You see, we at INTAC as well as at the Department of Archaeology, where of Cotton University, where I have presently posted, along with our students and the students members of INTAC, and along with our INTAC co-convener and members, as well as the Assam State Chapter, Professor Sheila Bora and Sapnanan Borua, everyone, we have been trying to highlight the importance of archaeological material from this region. So what we are basically trying to understand that archaeologically this region is very rich. All of us we are aware of it. And there are several works conducted by, let's say, Archaeological Survey of India or state departments of archaeology. However, I would say these regular archaeological investigations are very much inadequate to deal with some of the very critical natural hazards as well as anthropic threats. You see, this particular Assam or entire Northeast India, it is very much active seismically. We have made several major earthquakes, as well as we have all these fluvial activities which are affecting very much these archaeological heritage sites. So we thought of having a kind of a methodology which can deal with these kind of problems. So we'll later realize that rescue archaeology or even salvage archaeology, which is a very important tool or method nowadays applied in cultural heritage management for retrieving and documenting sites which are under threat from earthquake, natural hazard, as well as the anthropic activities. So, for example, so much of construction works are happening here and there in Guwahati city or elsewhere. Every year we have flood. So, how to deal with this kind of situation where floods are affecting the sites every year, or some major, anthropic issues, which I'll show you. So how to deal with that? So we later on realized that let us try to implement this particular method called salvage or rescue archaeology. So we can at least record and document these important sites. So I will give you some 4 or 5 case studies where we are presently working. One of these causes are like the flood can be one cause, earthquakes, or man-made hazards. Against this, I have given some kind of case studies. For example, to deal with the flood activities. So we are giving you an example of our works in Krishnai, Dudhnoi, and Brahmaputra confluence in a district called Gwalpara, that is the lower part of Assam. Then earthquakes. Of course, earthquakes are coming now, but it was also prevalent during early medieval time or even in medieval time. So there were several earthquakes which have actually caused damage to many of the temples. So those are very clearly seen in many of the sites. So how to document those sites? Then there are mixture of things like flood is also happening and even earthquakes are also happening. So I'll give you an example of this site of Manikarneswar in northern part of Guwahati. Then several man-made hazards like some sites in Guwahati as well as Mayong region. You were present in the National Convention where our state convener, Professor Sheila Bora, she shared with you the archaeological wealth of Mayong as well as black magic or white magic, etc. So this is a map of Assam where you can see all the blue color things are actually crisscrossed by the rivers. We have two major rivers, the Brahmaputra as well as Barak. These two rivers have so much of tributaries. Again, those tributaries would have so much of sub-tributaries and all. So this is a mixture of a fluviatile environment where many of the sites are located. You can see the blue color thing, which show that during the rainy season, how flood affects the entire river valley of the Brahmaputra. This is a thin line which shows the main stream of the Brahmaputra, and all the blue color things are how it covers the surrounding areas. So as you are all aware of this flood problem in Assam, and considering that flood, I will take you to this particular location called Gwalpara, which is having three important rivers like the Brahmaputra and its tributaries like Krishnai and Dudhnoi. This Krishnai and Dudhnoi, they come from Meghalaya and joins there in this particular area with the Brahmaputra. This is the confluence. So this particular area has a very important site called Sri Surya Pahar, and it is comparable to Ellora of Maharashtra, where you have three different religious sects coming together, like the Jaina, Buddhist, and Hinduized or Vaishnavite art and the sculptures present, due to which we compare this site with Ellora of Maharashtra. You can see some of the colossal rock cut stupas, some beautiful carvings or rock cut sculptures of Hindu as well as Buddhist deities, as well as you have some kind of votive images of Buddha which are recovered from those areas lying very close to the river bank of the Brahmaputra. So you see now many of these brick structures,
Sir,
all these
can
brick
you-
structures.
Sir, 1 second. Can you operate your slides? Whatever you
Yeah. Okay.
just operate your slides also, so that everyone will have a.
Yeah. So
Niche that.
is it okay, sir, now?
Ah.
Yeah. So in this particular slide, you can see that there are so much of brick structures which are being washed away every time when there is a flood. And even I'll give you some examples, like this particular brick, circular brick kind of thing on the left. It was observed in 2016, but in the month of January. But when we went again into the field in December in the same year, the whole section was gone with the flood. Secondly, another ring well which was present in January 2016, it was already gone by December 2016. Some of the brick mounds which was feasible in 2016 January, when we went in December, January, it was pushed back through the erosion of the river. So this was actually a very common thing in that area. So sometimes what happens, this brick or ring wells completely disappear many times. For example, you can see some of these ring wells. They are actually very important, and then many times these provide some of the very good artifacts found in those wells when we scrap it or when we look at it very carefully. So you see, this was the situation in our Gwalpara area. You can see a complete ring well and a close-up of it on the right side. These are very much valuable cultural properties, and many a times we see in 1 year and in the next year, it is very difficult to locate. So what we are trying to do here, every time we go and try to document, photograph, as well as observation, drawing, etc., everything we try to do, so that these are with the researcher or with us for further research. You can see this particular section of a water tank which was dug in the locality. You can see all these beautiful almost complete pots, or as well as broken terracotta figurines or some sculptures, which are very frequently found in those areas. Now, I feel that it is, as an archaeologist, it is also our duty, as well as a enthusiast related to heritage conservation, all to find out a apt methodology how to deal with these kind of problems. I would like to share you that when we apply for archaeological exploration or excavation to Archaeological Survey of India, so it takes lots of time. There are so much of lengthy procedures involved. Can flood be waited? Can earthquake be waited? Okay, so it is important that we document these things, these features, as much as possible whenever these are visible to us in those river sections. So that is one point that I would like to make. When we started going to that area, we started collecting some of the objects which were lying on the riverbed. These are not from the in situ sections, because we directly cannot take anything from the in situ sections as per archaeological norms and laws. So what we did, whatever was already collapsed or whatever was already being washed away, so those things we tried to collect, and these are some beautiful pottery from that region. Now they are now displayed in the Department of Archaeology of Cotton University in a museum. We are trying to put everything together so that our students or even the common person can see and do some kind of research on those archaeological remains. You can see these beautiful terracotta figurines which are from this area. Now, I would like to mention to you that in the city of Guwahati, we have plenty of temple ruins, which are basically of the early medieval time period, let's say 9 to 12 centuries. So these temples have been severely affected in the past by the earthquake. And as we know about the Northeast Indian seismic activities, and these have been divided into several zones like zone 1, zone 2, zone 7 and all. So this zone 9, which falls in the Guwahati area almost, and in that zone 9, you can see here that in the recent past, you can say in 1897 or 1825, there were several earthquakes which were up to the magnitude of 8 Richter scale. So you see that it is very much affected by these earthquakes. So now, because of this earthquake, at the past as well as even the present, many of the sculptures are getting disturbed. So we worked in a particular area called Rajaduar area in northern part of Guwahati, which is again on the bank of the Brahmaputra. And this is just a map. We have also published a paper on that. And there's a temple called Manikarneswar. This particular temple, this was built during the late medieval period by the Ahom kings. And there are also some sculptures which were made little earlier in the early medieval period, let's say. And we could see just on the riverbank these beautiful images of Shiva and Vishnu and all, which are lying on the riverbed. And these are in tilted position, not in original position. They are collapsed. They have been rotated or upside down, you can see. So, and I'm sure all of you are aware that nobody would make any sculpture in an upside down position. These have been turned down because of some activities. And these are huge ones, colossal images. And this particular image of Vishnu, it is just on the border of the river. You can see this is again upside down. And many of these features of Vishnu, because of flood and other climatic conditions, they are getting flaked off. And you can see particularly this slide where we have taken the sculpture, the photograph of this sculpture 2 seasons. One is in the rainy season where half of it is underwater, and in the after the flood it was under the soil. So you see so much of natural things are, natural agents are affecting on these beautiful images. So now what I feel that whatever is there in that particular area, we need to document everything. We need to document with photographs, with videos or drawing and all sorts of documentation procedures, so that at least we we have an idea about the richness of the archaeological materials there. And you can see that many of the sculptures which were present in the site, now they have been taken away, and then more shrines or more, they actually have very importance, very much importance in history and archaeology of the region. Another important island, which is known as the Umananda, many of you might be aware of it. So one of the smallest islands, inhabited island in the Brahmaputra river. And in that particular river also, I mean site also, you can see so many temple ruins and so many sculptures which are again upside down, turned down. They are definitely part of some seismic activities in the past. So what we are trying to do, even the wedge mark, whatever stones were there, those were made utilized for making some construction in the past. Whatever wedge marks are there, whatever mason marks are there, whatever rock cut images are there, whatever engravings are there, those are being recorded and documented by our chapter as well as our students. So these are, we are trying to highlight for further research. Now, the famous temple of Kamakhya, you can see in the Nilachal. This is a very famous temple, you are aware. That temple was also affected by earthquake in the past, and these are some of the sculptures which are all across the Nilachal hill, and these were fallen because of some earthquakes in the past. So much of negligence again. So this is a very beautiful pond, temple pond, where you can see many of the tortoise, and they are very dilapidated conditions. And all these pieces of stone that you see here, they are part of the temple ruins. So all these are to be documented, and we are trying to document and record. Another river island very close to Brahmananda is, you see the Urvashi. This particular Urvashi has so many rock cut sculptures. Like this one, you can see Ganesha and all these Dashavatara images, and all these are rock cut steps, etc. So, and there are major inscriptions there, and also some kind of Shivalingas are drawn or engraved, and some images of Vishnu, etc. engraved. So this particular island is underwater for almost 6 to 7 months in a year. So only in the dry season we can see these images. So certainly we cannot bring the entire island to somewhere else. We cannot bring anything because these are part of the natural rocks. So now, as part of salvage archaeology or as part of rescue archaeology, maximum documentation we are trying to do so that these are preserved before it gets into oblivion. So these are some of the beautiful images of that particular island. Now, I'd like to give you another example of how anthropic traits are also affecting. There was a site called Ghuramara, and you can see the two images of rock cut images of Ganesha. Only the outline remains because we used to put so much of vermilion to it. So this is actually affecting the entire sculptures. Now, this particular slide I'd like to show you here, that there was a huge mound, archaeological mound, some 10 years back. And this mound I could record some 10 years back in this area. And you can see here that this mound was up to 2-meter height and almost 100 and 200 meter wide and in length. But now this is completely gone, and only some pieces of pottery remains there. But fortunately, in my visit in 2010 or so, I could collect some of this pottery during that time, and now except those pottery which was collected that time, nothing remains now. So that's why I feel that there is ample scope for rescue archaeology or salvage archaeology. And before construction of anything in India, at least there should be some heritage expert or archaeologist or historian. They should inspect that area, and there should be no a kind of a NOC for those areas where any construction is being done. So then only we can save those monuments as well as archaeological remains. You can see those beautiful pottery that was collected long back in 2010, and those are the only pieces of evidences for that site of Ghoramara now. Another important site called Navagraha, very important 9 planets temple. You can see these temple ruins. Now they are in dilapidated condition because nowadays so much of quarry is happening, so much of construction is happening, and nobody cares about these beautiful sculptures and things. Now, another example I would like to give you from my own institute, Cotton University, where in 1990 and 1992 an excavation was happening. It was also kind of an accidental discovery of archaeological remains when they wanted to build a building in this particular area, a particular indoor stadium the university authority they wanted to build. But when they started digging, so much of pottery, some bricks, some sculptures came up, and these were actually kept in the Assam State Museum. We, our students, along with our co-convener of INTEC, Dr. Jonali Devi, her students, our students, and our members, we went to Assam State Museum when we tried to document all these pottery pieces, and they are very much part of the Brahmaputra Valley pottery assemblage, very much similar to the Ambari archaeological site, very famous archaeological site, very close to Cotton University. So, and they resemble many of the sites, or even you can go the cultural similarities can go up to the Gangetic Valley. So, importance of studying even the already collected material kept or stored in the museums or even in Archaeological Survey of India can also be very much beneficial as an archaeologist or as a heritage expert. So now these are some of the drawings that we have done for this pottery, and we have also written in details about this pottery from that region. Some of the images you can see here, and recently, some 2 years back, just during the COVID period, at Cotton University again, so our university authority, they wanted to build another building, and a beautiful image of Vishnu came up. Surya came up, and that was also studied in detail. You can see the details of this particular image. So what I feel here, even university or colleges, we have a big role to play, because many times so much of construction activities happening in those cities or in rural areas. At least we should know where most likely archaeological materials can come up. So we should keep an eye where these construction activities are going on. At least we should be able to see that and then find out if there is any archaeological material beneath. If there is anything beneath, so at least we should inform the concerned authority, or as a member of INTEC, we should take up some projects so that these can be actually saved from the hands of these construction persons, I would say. So you see it now, some beautiful pottery again came up at Cotton. So we are trying to put this again in our museum at the department. Now, as we were present in the convention, Professor Sheila Bora shared with you about the Mayong area and the museum that, with the support of Gerda Henkel Stiftung in Germany as well as INTEC, we try to restructure or reorganize this particular museum. Along with that, we tried to document each and every archaeological site in that area. This is a beautiful site called Sonoka, where you have so much of, again, beautiful rock cut images of 9 to 11 or 12 centuries, and we have recorded some 32 archaeological sites in that area. We have digitally mapped it with geo coordinates and all. Yeah, we have prepared this map and we have printed it for the common people in that village museum and research center. So anyone who wishes to visit these sites, they can easily find, they can easily go and visit those sites. So my point is here, whatever archaeological materials are lying in our areas, so everything should be documented. It can be measure marks, it can be engravings, it can be inscriptions, it can be any small icon, it can be bigger icon, even pottery, terracotta, everything. Everything should be documented. And these are from a local, person in Mayong. While digging his own pond or tank, so he could get these three beautiful pieces of sculptures. And now that person is not allowing us to take this to the Mayang Village Museum and Research Center. He wants to keep it in their home. So you see, the problem, there is some problem in the sense. So whenever there's this sculpture come up, so they just try to put it in their own temple, this and that. And but these are very much important objects. So for everyone's betterment, so these are to be either kept in a properly well placed museum or in a centrally located place, so that anyone interested, they can visit and study that, as well as see the beauty of these sculptures of 9th to 12th centuries. So apart from those, in the museum of Mayang Museum, so we have documented all these important sculptures, pottery, tried to even draw them. Along with that, whatever archaeological sections were there, so we tried to photograph them in a very proper manner, so that these remains with us. And at the end, I'd like to conclude by saying that the photographs are going to be the sources or resources for us in the future. Archaeological remains, they tend to disintegrate. Archaeological sites, because of various threats, they are disappearing from our landscape. But if we are good in documenting, if we are good in photographing, or we are good in recording everything in a proper manner, and they are in public domain for research, it is going to be a great help for each and everyone. So I thank all of you for patience hearing, and I would like to receive some feedback and suggestions and comments from the learned scholar in front of me. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manzil Hazarika. What a lovely presentation. I heard so much about you, but this is the first time I am hearing you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Really impressed. Gentlemen, if you have any questions or any suggestions or anything, if you want to, contribute.
Sir, first of all, I extend my congratulations to Hazarika Sahab. He delivered a very informative speech about the northeastern India, about particularly the Assam. I just watched some potteries, and this kind of pottery is the North India is very much familiar with this kind of pottery. Typically, the spouted red vessels are considered to be the pottery of the Shunga Kushana period, that is around 200
Yes.
AD. So I would like to ask Hazarika Sahab, is there any other evidence of the expansion of the Kushanas and Shungas or the later Mauryas in Assam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for the lovely question. I would like to share that the site of Ambari, that is very much, within the city of Guwahati, the site was initially dated to 7th century. But recent excavation in 2008 and 9, the site has been dated to Shunga Kushana period based on some terracotta images, beautiful terracotta images, as well as some bricks and some pottery. Certainly, we can say that Assam, or at least Brahmaputra Valley, or particularly Ambari area in Guwahati, was under habitation during the Shunga Kushana period. And this pottery showing to you, which do not have a direct date, either thermoluminescence date or other dates for these pottery, but in general the site starts with Shunga Kushana period. Then we have continuity of habitation in that particular area. That is the only site which gives us a clear-cut idea of Guwahati being inhabited for the last 2000 years.
Thank you, Hazarika sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Hazarika. And now I invite my last speaker. Sir, you can remove your presentation. So we have our last speaker, and this is about the Saraswati river system of the northwestern India plains is being researched in detail as part of the Intact Research Project and Haryana government Saraswati River Rejuvenation Project. The study carried out in Haryana and Rajasthan by Intact Kurukshetra Convenor revealed that the Saraswati River system formed a dense web of interconnecting channels which are continuously networked for more than 2,984 kilometers in Haryana. To understand it further, that how the oldest civilization in the world evolved, let us hear our convener Kurukshetra chapter, Dr. A.R. Chaudhary. Dr. Chaudhary, sir. So can you share your presentation? Manzil,
Thank you, Shukla
Dr.
Sahab.
Manzil, Dr. Manzil.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, I am able to hear.
और सर दिख रहा है ये presentation?
Sir, अभी नहीं.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Dr. Manzil, if you can